Magandang umaga. Good morning, everyone. I'm Lakan and I'm from Pilipinas or English, the Philippines, and also from the Poetry Global Network. And thank you so much, David, for having me today as feature, and all of the people here who came and is sharing or have shared. Thank you, because what we do is never easy. It takes so much courage for us poets to unravel a piece of who we are, our imagination, our stories. And I want to start off this set today with a some sort of an idea, because in the East, from 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 the Middle East to to the Philippines and Japan, poets are rarely looked upon as a form of entertainer, or poems are as entertainment. Um, the um, the royal courts, the government, um, would usually have poets as a source of wisdom and of truth. So it's such a huge thing to be called a poet, um, and it's like a responsibility, a duty. So I got invited to perform at the National Library of Singapore back in 2022. Yes. And um, I wanted to speak a truth. And it was very shocking for, for a lot of people there, considering Singapore is Singapore. Um, so this is this is the poem that I shared in the Migrant Writers Festival. The title is For Poets from the East too. I was quite lazy with that title. Okay. I often wondered, why is it that whenever we go to the West, we have to see gamit ang kanilang mga mata. Breathe, harera no kano tsukate. Hear, o nakikanon ko ba yung karana. Taste yung tamen ditwe. Feel, yastik tam basirat him. Why do we shut our own eye, bury our own noses, fold our own ears, stitch our own mouths, numbed our own bodies to belong in the same earth that should know respect? How easy is it for us to forget who we are, traded for validation, acceptance, for a few alms snaps, snapping our spines to crack little by little, piece by piece, until our being has been too low, to nothing, to recognize who we truly are? Is the exchange worth it? Huh? To translate always for them, ang mga matang ito na marunong tumitig. Kokyu no shikkate o shite iru no kore na hai. Ye kanjo sun sakate hain. Te chang huai to hua de cui. Hat ha al jidid alad hiyum ki nai sayer. Is it freeing to be always adjusting, flailing, bowing our literature under the flags that should have been lowered a century ago? Even when they visit our bodies of sovereignty, why do we bend the knee that has been stuck dito? Kokoni, yahan, taili, kuna. Why can't we stop ourselves from apologizing for their laziness, their arrogance, their pride of being proud of not speaking our language? We uphold the facade of their imperialism still. Better than our assimilation, less so for our cultures. and we dare call ourselves free. I tell you, being proud and grateful of being who we are is also free. To think it's 2022, not 1902. And you're still asking me why is this piece still in English, right? Because this is also a notice for the West. Thank you. So people were like so shocked. You were like, oh, Lacan just like performed that in the National Library of Singapore. I was like, yep, I did. Now, another source of truth is that we often forget history. And in the Philippines, 2 years ago, we did forget history, and we have installed a president, the son of a former dictator. It was as if it was like a plug and play, huh? And the title of this piece is Text Isle. Text colon Isle. Your might is tight on the crotch of a government that we got by believing it's fashionable to be blind. Sided with an election to dis-erect the organs of society. We elected a sigh of ill-fitted vestiges to revise on how we measure sacrifice. To breathe your convenience of selling the offices we pay for. And we're still the ones in debt. How badly did we bet to forget evil and life are alive? Even if we reverse each fabric, you still tatter each inch of our banter and opinion. Your will's contraction is the only constitution we are cramped to follow. Below our determination to demonstrate the demon straight for my viral disillusionment. It'll get better, right? Yeah. We confine that expression closer to your clenched fists. This is how you zip up nationhood. Suffocating the freedom long suppressed from each press you close up to fold the columns of our speech. To be made mute becomes a torture worse than all the screams you hide from each orgasm of dynasty. You tailor fit in our history. It strangles our thighs, not being able to run for our right to outlast your sprints. Democracy is a marathon. Being naked to truth, strapped, locked, trapped in the trappings of stripping what independence is left, to not know nothing changed. We're free prisoners, walking like bills that boxes the seams of what seems some body is like liberty, especially if it's from your family. I know your mother can curate a couture second-rate mimicry, killing us with your fake beauty, shots to the groin of sovereignty. Wait, isn't she 93? And it all started when we were you after 50. Thank you. Because it was exactly 50 years after we had that dictatorship, we elected the son. Fantastic. And I remember Britney Spears had a song, Oops, We Did It Again. Yeah, that's what we did. Um, now, my debut collection is coming out um, next month, and took me 7 years to finish the book. And I know why. I now know why. Because I needed to I needed to develop courage. Courage from within to own up that voice. Because what happened to me was and is and will ever be not easy. And for a lot of people who are victims of sexual assault, this is my anchor poem, the first poem that I wrote, and I didn't even know that it was going to be a book. The title is labeled Waking Up Would Never Be the Same. Being drugged never felt this hollow. My disc-dyed body stitched to another I just met a few hours ago. Couldn't see much, but forgetfulness remembers him, how he unbuttoned my breath with his fist, clenched, flicking the threads of how to be this humane. I did mumble, if I could keep even the holes that made me breathe, I couldn't. He even unzipped the broken parts that made me less human. What is less than that? Pretending doesn't work. I can't trick my senses tonight. I wanted to lie. Being undressed liberates my skin from his whiskey breath. I knew I was drunk. Not enough to blank a memory of how the moon is a coward, and when stars are traitors, the sky hid him like an accomplice. Time becomes an abuser's ally, a bystander that tripped longer, coming itself drenched like a shirt, striped, that stripped beside my cheek, that forgot how my mother kisses it still. Still are my weak eyes, ironed to a pillow. His eye was in my pillow. It knew exactly how to blink away the whole parts of me. They're gone. I'd never see them again. He knew how to pin me lower than the bed. I felt his unconquerable hunger, palm on wrist, lips on lobe, laughter on prayer, over and over and over again. I thought it was over. Again. Another. There are others. 4. 4 a.m. was my redemption. Exhaustion. I wore it like a half-sleeved savior. I'm a believer. God knows patience. Being more naked than death. It wasn't enough for my folded body, being limboed in sheets until morning. They clothed me, how they ripped me, unaware. Consent isn't a brand. They branded me, sliding me in a tailored fit and psalm, sewn with a marked fabric tainted silver, without lines on it. It blends rape. They wrapped it without names, leaving the tatters of my person on a dawned sidewalk of a city, pining the silhouette of my loss. Some say it looks good in me. I am still wearing it 7 years later. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share um, that poem and the poem next, because I don't know how many times I broke down writing this book. Um, and when I wrote that poem, the previous poem, it was 5 years later, and now it's 7. It's been 7 years, and the book that I will be releasing next next month under PGN publishing. It talks about the truth that is often hushed. And I think that's a problem when we try to shush what needs to be shared with people so they would know, like people like me who always feels alone, to feel that we are not alone in our grief. And it's never a small matter. And currently in the Philippines, there is the huge news about a young actor a few weeks ago who was sexually abused by two um, um, two handlers in TV and film, and more people are coming out um, because truth deserves to be heard and to be acted upon. So the last poem I will share tonight. The title of this poem is Don't Dare Clap at the End. Again, I will repeat that title. Don't Dare Clap at the End. My rape wants to scream, but my throat has been mute, stuck on June 10, 2017. All I have now is a shh, modulated by a choke. I've been trained to vocalize. Why? Why? Hey. Why? It holds my anger like a nostalgia. The times more quiet than the moans each of my rapists made. They had a raid of my veins to sound like a symphony. I was begging them to halt. Stop, stop, stop. I've been stopping my jaw to belt the naked hours. They've shoved my age, stripped to be striped like a staccato, running to backslide my ruin. Help, help, help. The memories coach me to practice for 4 hours how to squeeze anger and turn it to a reminder to turn and turn and turn like a rehearsal of lying. Hush, hush, hush. Trauma doesn't rush. They torture my chest with a saliva full vibrato, tingling, trickling, tricking me to believe I'll be rescued somewhere, somehow. How? 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 Howling is trained by fine tuning my whys. Like a lullaby that lulls a goodbye of the timbre of my tears, unharmonizing. Please, 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 please. They're pleased with my arpeggio of pain, how they conducted their batons on each hole they can run their keys on, like a capriccio to steal God. God. An unholy taciturn, tasting turns in my loss. I'm lost to sing the nothingness left in my hall, hollowed, a phonic of the justice of shouting. I've been raped. Survivors like me are left with this musical of mumbling in rooms like this one to pretend we are the sonorous opuses of chanting in chorus, trigger warning! I wish rape also had a trigger warning. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lacan. And indeed, we're not clapping at the end as the title